Hi guys, Todd Goldstein from North Melbourne Footy Club. I'm here today for Macca's Chat to a Champion. Thanks for all your questions. I'll try and answer some of them now. Thanks for your question, CJ. I think the best midfield I've played with, it's a tough one between people like Sean Higgins, Adam Simpson, Brent Harvey, but I think Ben Cunnington is probably the best one I play with and will end up being the best one. Thanks, Kai. Unfortunately, I grew up as an Essendon supporter. Fair to say they're probably my most hated team now, but my dad was a long-term, up to 30, 40-year member, so I didn't get a lot of say when I was growing up. All right, Jacob, well, the first thing, do I have a pre-game routine? I don't really try to be too specific what I do. I've been taught that having rituals and things like that can really make you perform worse if you get worried about what you haven't done. So I try to take a pretty measured and casual approach. And the nerves are a natural thing. The coach has often said to us, if you're not nervous, then you probably don't care enough and you shouldn't be playing anymore. So it's good to make sure you have nerves. It just means you've got to make sure you channel it and don't waste energy. So that's more what it's about. Thanks, Bailey. I think probably, other than our couple of finals that we played in, my most memorable game is probably my first game. So my first game was in 2008. It was, I can't remember exactly what round, about round 14 or 15 against Port Adelaide at the old football park. I think every player remembers their first game and their first kick and their first touch and things like that. So I remember, I think it felt like I nearly sent our captain, Adam Simpson, to hospital with my first kick. I kicked about 15 metres across and about 45 metres in the air. And then obviously my first hit out to Drew Petrie for a goal, which was probably very memorable for me. Thanks, Brett. My toughest opponent, that's a tough question because a number of ruckmen have caused me issues over time, and obviously Aaron Sandilands is the obvious one with his height. He's got another 10 centimetres, so at 211 it's a tough opponent, but probably the opponent that caused me the most trouble and that I learned a lot from was Dean Cox. I think he changed the way ruckmen go about and the way they're expected to play, and I learned a lot from him, and he single-handedly beat us when I was playing on him a number of times, so probably Dean Cox. Thanks, Joel. My biggest memory growing up, I think my most favourite one is probably my under-18s year playing Oakley Chargers, and I think we finished outside the top four and we were able to win Oakley's first premiership. So we beat Calder Cannons on the MCG on grand final day. So it's obviously not quite the ultimate glory of being able to win an AFL premiership on grand final day, but to do that at the MCG on grand final day was something I'll never forget. Thanks, Dwayne. Probably growing up, I probably didn't watch ruckman too closely. It was never a dream of mine to be an AFL ruckman. So I was probably watching more Michael Jordan, trying to be like him. But I think since I've been in the thing, I think Dean Cox has been the one that I've tried to mould. I've seen how well he covered the ground and how well he was able to run and sort of almost be like another midfielder. So that was probably the catalyst for me to work on my fitness and make sure that was a real strength of mine. Thanks, Gerald. I'd like to say there's one sort of thing that can make you get that fitness base, but it was the old age of it was just a lot of running and a lot of hard work. In when I first got to the club, I reckon I was probably near the back of the group in terms of fitness, and it was probably my second year where the footy club really focused on trying to get me fitter, and a lot of work with our then trainer Paul Turk and John Siegel. They did a lot of extra fitness sessions, whether it was on a cross trainer or running laps after a main skills session. So it was just a lot of running. Thanks for your question, Lucas. I think it's always a tough one to know what you'd be doing, but I think if I didn't get drafted as an 18-year-old kid, I would have definitely tried to pursue the basketball career, and I think I was definitely going to go to college if I was playing basketball. It was just a matter of where I was going to go, and I think colleges, like Utah Utes and things like that were talking to my family, so that was an option. So I would have loved to have been playing basketball somewhere if it wasn't for footy. Thanks, Ange. I think I've tried not to support one team. I was a bit young for when Jordan was coming through. So when he was at the peak of his powers, I was sort of 7 or 8. And I see a lot of people that hate LeBron James. So my thing has been, I want to appreciate LeBron as probably in the top 2 players to ever play. And so I've been pretty much following him wherever he goes. So that makes me a Lakers fan at the moment. And I think the Golden State Warriors are going to be pretty hard to beat, even without Kevin Durant. They're looking pretty good. Thanks a lot, everyone, for your questions. There were some pretty good ones in there. It was really hard to choose my favourite one, but I think my favourite one goes to Jacob. So So Jacob, you'll be getting this footy. I'll put a signature on it and we'll send it out to you. So thanks everyone for your questions. If you're at Blundstone Arena this weekend, come and visit the Macca's Family Fun Zone and have a kick of the footy. And go Roos.